Hello, what's up good people? Good to see you once again. Hey, leo tunazungumzia uko na 50k to 100k but you're confused hata hujui uanze biashara gani ama what business can you be able to start or what exactly can you be able to do with this money, or maybe unafikiria okay ama ni kwanza niongeze ifike kiwango fulani so that I may be able to start a business. So let's get to see exactly what can you do with that amount of money, or what should you understand before getting yourself into any business so that you make a good decision. All right, as always in Good Joseph channel, I post good videos where I educate people in one way or the other about investment, how to make money, how to maintain money, and also to grow yourself to the next level. But before we do that, make sure that at least you make this video one of your favorite video by just liking it. Click that button kako hapo hivyo chini on your left, there is a button kamechorwa hivi, just click it, and then hapo hivyo juu on your right kuna button kameandikwa in black kameandikwa subscribe. Just hit that button. It is free, it is fast, and guess what happens when you do that? Any moment in future when I upload a new good video, you never miss a point. Without wasting any more time, let's get to today's business. All right, so anyway, unaweza kuwa you have your 50 Gs or your 50k out there to 100k, but you're confused because I always tell people one thing. A lot of people tend to think or believe that capital is the main thing that you should look for when you want to start a business. But kuna kakitu huwa kana happen. Once you get your capital, you even get confused even more than you are confused. You don't even know, okay, fine, I have the money right now. What business can I start? Then where can I start business? And how can I start that exact business? So that confusion usually kicks in once you get your money. Before you had the money, you thought that the money is the biggest problem, but once you get it, then you come to realize, oh my goodness, it's not only capital that is confusing, but also the location and what to start. So this is what I would like to advise you, and I would like to advise two different people here. Moja akona that amount of money, anataka kuanza business immediately. Na wapili akona that exact money, but hataki kuanza that exact business and anataka in a conventional business, but anataka to make sure that at least this money does not rest in a bank idly, doesn't make money, or if it does, then it's not enough. So let me go ahead and be able to talk to those different people. Let's start with person one or person A. Person A has this money and want to dish themselves into the business like immediately. Right? This is what I would advise. This 50 to 100k, if you are in a position to, or if you have the capability, I would advise you usiweke all your money in one basket, because they always say don't put all your eggs in one basket. Things happen. This is what I would advise. You can divide that money to either equally, or maybe let's say 60-40,000, and then from there start to do different businesses. If maybe you do not have that, or rather if you do not you aren't employed and you have that enough time for you to start like a business with 50 to 100k, I'm telling you, you can start variety of business. The very first business that you answer maybe is to do wholesaling of diapers, what we call the serviettes, what we call the tissue papers, and what have you, the face towels and such kind of a thing. So you can get yourself into that business. All right, so you can decide one thing, like I can start this business with like 50,000 or 60,000, and then I buy myself like a motorbike of, let's say, like a 40,000, because they are there actually, and then from there you can even start doing your whole you can distribute yourself, rather than maybe let's say you set up that business and then you try to contract people aboda supply na vitu kama hizo. All right, so anyway, in this video, I'm not giving business ideas. What I'm doing is this: you can decide to separate that money into, or divide that money into separate or to two different things or ways. All right, and then from there you can invest into different areas where you don't get confused at the process. All right. So the other thing you can be able to do with this cash is this: identify yourself from where you're located. Just look around and get to see what problem or challenge can you be able to fill that challenge, and then from there make a business out of it. I keep on repeating this point. Starting a business is not about you, it's about them, because you will not be the customer to your business. You're selling to the other people. You don't have to invest in your passion, because if you invest in your passion, is what you love, but is it what other people love based on where you're located? And then from that point you can be able to make a conscious decision. You can say like, okay, fine, naweza kuwa mimi napenda maybe water refill business, but where I'm located they're asking for what? Or let's say a milk business. So you go to the milk way as you find your way how you can maneuver yourself and chip in it to whatever you want. It all starts with what you have, then go to what you want. That's what you're supposed to understand. So the very basic thing, because if I was to name businesses that you can start with that amount, there are a lot of them and there are very many. So what I can stick around is the foundational knowledge that you have to have for you to make that conscious decision to invest that specific amount of money, right? And I've said this: from wherever you are located, identify that gap that you can feel or that problem that is there, make a business out of it, and in the process of making a business out of it, make sure that at least you don't put all your eggs in one basket. And if you have to do so, then you must have calculated your risks so you don't get yourself into problems. Or there are two ways. This is how I always define businesses. Number one, you have to understand that there are two types of businesses. There's what we call the low risk businesses, and they usually have low returns. And the other one, we call them the higher risk businesses, and they usually have what we call the higher returns. So the higher the risk the risky the business, then the higher the returns can be. And also vice versa is also true. So what you're supposed to understand is this: if you're this kind of an individual, want to get yourself into the business, then do so, but consider those factors. You have to have a business plan. You have to have, a prospect on how much you'd like to earn, maybe at the end of the day or at the end of the month, and such kind of a thing. And now let's go to the second person. This second person has the same amount, but you kind of confused as well. You don't want to start a business as of now, because the business that you're prospecting to start, it is not yet, the money is not yet enough to start that specific business. So what you were looking for is to add more money on top of what you're having. Say maybe you're aiming for 250, and right now you have 100 or 80 or something, but you are worrying like this money, you feel like it's, lying idle, doesn't make you anything or something of sort. So you're thinking of where you can be able to put this money somewhere they can be making something, not great money or not that big money, but at least it's not lying idle somewhere. So perhaps at this particular point is where I chip in and I tell you, you can invest on what we call the low risky businesses, but they usually have low returns, but considerable returns. All right. For example, always give an example of money market fund. Always give an examples of shares. You can do yourself, circle shares if one or two guys from the circles, or maybe you can go ahead and do some treasury bills. I wouldn't advise you go for the treasury bills because those one are quite longer in terms of period. You can go for treasury bills, and then from there you can be getting something at the end of, for treasury bills you get it's either about 91 days, 184 or 360. Like basically it's like 1 year, and then you have your face value or your invested capital back to yourself. Then from there you can actually go ahead and withdraw your money and go start that conventional business. This is the trick when it comes to business. Hizi conventional business ndio tumezizoea, hizi za kawaida, kina salon, beauty, boutique, whatever, butchery, hardware, what have you. They usually have money, but they are risky. You cannot be able to say like, I'm 100% sure tomorrow I'll get 2,000. No, you cannot. But once you do yourself, let's say, into money market fund, you're almost 100% sure that if that money market fund or that fund manager gives you 80% of your total investment, then if you've invested, if you invest your 100,000, then you rest assured that at the end of the year, I'll get my 8,000. First of all, assuming there is no tax, all right? So you rest assured about that. But once you get yourself into any business, can take even yourself 2 months, 3 months before even, you come to a point whereby you're now getting exactly what you aimed as your profit per day or per month. That's what I would advise you. So this is the basic thing. If I may recap exactly what I've just said, make sure you take your time. Ask yourself, I have my 50 Gs to 100 Gs. Now, what can I do with this money? Am I this kind of a person who can tolerate high risks? Or am I this kind of an individual who cannot tolerate those high risks? I'm usually this guy who is very conscious, very calculative before I get my money into an investment. If you can define yourself based on those two aspects, then you can be able to choose a way to go. There's someone, if you tell them to buy shares, then that doesn't resonate with them because they ask you how much do I get. When you tell them like, okay, you cannot really tell because they don't want to get themselves into that. Then if you tell them to invest in money market fund, they tell you how much do I get at the end of the year. You tell them 8,000 once I invest my 10,000 or rather 100,000. Then they tell you no, I won't get myself into that. So, and by the way, those guys who have higher risk appetite, they are the guys who actually make things in life. That's the reality. If you ask me, I would advise you go ahead and do the risk businesses, but again, just be cautious, but be open and be flexible. This is life. If you be rigid, you can be discouraged and you get frustrated along the way, and that one can actually turn out to be, of detrimental to you, and can actually there's some of the guys who have made they have made a decision that they will never get into business once again because what they received was quite a frustration and a shock. So I wouldn't say like, don't be that kind of an individual. Once you get yourself into those things, then be calculative, be smart, take risks, but obviously calculated risks. All right. So anyway, my name is Good Joseph. Always talk about money, talk about investment, and anything related to that. If that cup of your coffee, then consider this home by doing what? By subscribing, hitting that subscription button, and liking this video so you never miss any of my videos. What I've just said is this: if you want to get yourself into any of what I've discussed about, I have booklets of different kinds. I have one about shares, where you can get started and buy shares and what is it and how you can buy, about treasury bills, treasury bonds, about money market fund, about circles, shares, and what have you, and also business ideas, business booklet, business plans booklet. I have all those in place. So what I would do, basically, I'll leave my number on the comment section. I'll pin it down there, and I'll still write it on the description of this video, so you can go here there and get my number, text me on WhatsApp, and get your copy for only $220. All right. So for now, what can I say apart from thank you? See you in the next one, and goodbye.